Welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. It's your host, Lonzo Jones. Hey, I'm glad to be back. Now, my guy, Dwayne Malone, he working behind the scenes on this episode. You'll hear his voice from time to time, but I do have a special guest with me on tonight. But before I introduce him, let me tell you what the topic is for this particular episode. Dealing with the fear of failure. Dealing with the fear of failure. Now we got a guest, Mr. Roderick Fuqua. He's a probational officer. They made me say that last name, so I had to really, enunciate on that one. But Mr. Roderick Fuqua, he's a probational officer. Rod, tell me a little bit more about yourself, man, if you don't mind.
Hey, how's everyone doing this evening? My name is Roderick Fuqua. I am a local here, born in Leeton, Alabama. I have been a probation officer here for the last 10 years. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama. I'm just grateful to be here with all of you tonight.
All right, that's what's up, man. We glad to have you on the show, man. I think Rod, how long have I been knowing you, bro?
You've been knowing me, give or take, for about the past 5 years.
Okay, I thought so. I know it was before the pandemic.
Yes, sir.
Man, this guy right here, he has a great heart, man. I think sometimes we don't really get to see the heart of a probational officer.
Yes, sir.
They get they stereotype. But I can tell you from these past 5 years that this guy right here, he has a heart for the young men and women that he deal with, man, and just all around good guy, man. He's one of those guys too that he's so nice to people that you got to tell him, like, man, don't be letting people take advantage of you, because what I'm saying, he just got that heart for people. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
But Rod, so before we even get into these get too deep in this, man, what have you been up to over the past few months, man? What has life been looking like for you, man?
Life for me the last few months, it has been looking like I've been, of course, still been working, serving the community, serving Culver County as juvenile probation officer. Lately, I've been working with my family. If you're not familiar with Doug Fuqua, my uncle, he runs D&M Group Home, but he also has a local business called Muscle Shoals Event Center. So locally, I've been helping him run a 360 booth that we're starting to get off the ground lately. And in addition to that, of course, like I said, anyone who's seen me has known me all my life. I've always been a bigger guy. But if you're looking at me now in this video, I've slimmed down quite a bit. So I've been spending a lot of time in the gym, just working on myself, traveling, just trying to get in touch with me, get closer to God, and try myself to be the best example for my kids in my community, to show them that you can be a positive change and you got to change yourself in order to change others.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, he's definitely has slimmed down on us, man. But he's looking good, got the fresh fade, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into this, man. Dealing with the fear of failure. What signs indicate someone is struggling with fear of failure?
Some of the signs that I've noticed in myself, and definitely in some of the youth that I've worked with, and then just in general, are that, hey, you may notice that you have a lot of procrastination. You may have, in general, you may have a avoidance strategy. You may start avoiding situations. You may have some stress. You may have some anxiety. You may be putting things, definitely, again, going back to the avoidance, you have perfectionism as well. Like definitely wanting to make things like always right at all the right times, and make a lot of excuses, like saying like, hey, the reason why this didn't work out is because, I didn't put my best foot forward. That's definitely the reason why I see a lot of things as far as reasons for that type of situation.
Man, I heard that I was listening to somebody and they was talking about excuses, and they said an excuse is a well-planned lie.
I believe that.
In some aspect, it was like you're sitting back, after you fail at something or didn't succeed at a certain level, you come up with an excuse, and it's like you sit there and plan out this excuse. Like, what can I tell the people that's waiting to hear from me why this thing didn't work? And it was like, man, instead of you just getting up there and saying, hey, I just didn't get the job done, or I just wasn't prepared, they come up with an excuse, which is basically like the guy said, it was a well-planned lie.
And this is how I've heard it. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Greek life. I'm also a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, but anyone who's familiar with Greek life has always heard this: excuses are tools of the incompetent that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothingness. Those who excel in themselves succeed in anything at all.
Mm.
So that's what we were taught. So I mean, if you're fluent in excuses, that's what happens to you.
Mm.
You seldom obtain anything at all, because, like I said, if you have to build a bridge on an excuse, then you're going to have to tell a lie after lie after lie just to continue to function off those excuses, and you're going to continue to fail because of those lies and those excuses.
That's good. So yeah, you pretty much So yeah, I like that. That boy dropped that on us, boy. That came out of nowhere, came out the hip, boy.
Sir.
That was good stuff, man. Procrastination. That was one of the first ones you said, and I heard this gentleman talk about procrastination. He was saying that is procrastination even real? He was like, because the only thing when you really procrastinate, it's just not something that's high on your list of priorities. Sooner or later, you'll get to it if it's important. So it's like, whatever that thing you're doing, you say is important, but because you're not putting forth that effort, it's not high on your list. Is it really that important? Just like when someone takes a test, they may not study the whole week before. It's not a priority, but the night before, now it's a priority. Now they jumping all in trying to study, even though they procrastinated the first 4 days, but their last day is like, boom, let me jump into it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but it also goes back to what is your true potential, though. Are you playing up to the level of yourself, or are you playing up to the level of your competition, or are you just setting yourself up to a lower standard? So that's why I believe where it comes down to procrastination. Like, I'll give this example. Like, of course, I went to UA. So, I mean, at times, like I said, starting down in undergrad, like I said, hey, you could procrastinate some tests. I remember there were plenty of exams and tests, like starting out biology 101. Sure, I could procrastinate oftentimes and wait till the last minute and turn in those exams. Boom, there'll be an A. Boom, there'll be A. Start getting into those higher level classes, those 200 classes, those 300 classes. You cannot wait till the last minute and hope that you're going to make an A on a 300 level class or a 200 level class. Wait until the night before to turn in those papers. It hit me in the face real hard. Like I said, so I had to start changing my priorities. I start changing my boundaries. I had to start saying, like, okay, like, no, it's all about, like, true, you said procrastination. Like I said, you really are trying to put it off because eventually you're going to get around to it. But then are the results what you want them to be, though? Come on.
I like that.
Really, that's what it comes down to. What are the results you're actually wanting to have at the end of the day?
So procrastination, you won't procrastinate when things are truly important.
Exactly. If they're truly important, like I said, the first time around, like I said, you'll procrastinate. If you're getting the results that you want to have, you'll keep on procrastinating. But once you start not getting those results that you want, you'll probably stop procrastinating.
What about if something is easy to you? Do you think we're more prone to procrastinate if something is easy? Like you said, the 100 classes. I'm like, you know what? Bro, I got this in my sleep right now. So it's like, well, I ain't really got to study. I ain't really got to make this a top priority. So is it like, I guess it would be levels to procrastination.
Oh, yeah, there are levels to procrastination. Like I said, it just goes back to Psychology 101. Like I said, we are geared to definitely, as human beings, to make sure that we're going to do everything as easy as possible. Like I said, it's just like I said, you're going to get up in the morning. What's your habit routine? Like I said, you're going to get up and brush your teeth first. You're going to get up and take a shower first. You're going to use the restroom first. Like I said, we're going to do whatever is in our means mentally first. So if it's easy for us to do this and it takes the least amount of effort, we're going to do what we got to do to conserve the least amount of effort.
That makes sense. I like that. So how does fear of that's a tongue twister for your boy. So how does fear of failure affect their goals for the future?
It's going to affect your goals for the future because, like I said, if you keep on thinking about that fear of failure, it's going to limit you to thinking that, oh, okay, if I just settle my mind right here that this situation is already happening, it's going to continue to repeat itself, then I'm just going to get into this self-fulfilling prophecy that, hey, if I just stay, it's going to continue to happen again, then I'm not going to put forth any effort to just try to get better. I'm just going to accept my circumstances and just stay here in this place. That's how it can affect that's how it can affect you in any type of situation. That motivation, that like a drive, all those things can come up for you again.
Okay. So when I'm looking at fear of failure as far as future goals, what you're saying definitely resonates because it's like, bro, like it almost paralyzes you.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? From even taking that chance. So you never, if your goal is like, you feel like it's unattainable, it's like, well, bro, I don't even want to take that chance because if I fail, then I feel like I am a failure.
And think about it this way: if where you failed at was very public and in the sight of other people, it's going to be very paralyzing because you're going to have those physical symptoms as well. You're going to have that rapid heartbeat. You're going to have that nervousness, that pit in your stomach, and you're going to be thinking like, okay, I'm going to be in front of all these people. I'm going to have these people that are going to be judging me again if I get ready to go through the same set of situation or these set of circumstances again. And I say, okay, I want to go through this situation all over again. Are they going to be supportive of me, or is it going to be playing back the same way it did the last time again?
Yeah. So it's like they already, play out the future results in their mind in a negative way instead of actually giving themselves a chance by just actually stepping out there and just living on faith, taking that risk. Because any investment that you're going to make in your future, you got to take a risk, whether it's a small risk, a big risk, but you also want that risk to be a smart risk. So I feel like sometimes if you're not athletic and you're trying to make it to the NBA, like that's unrealistic.
Exactly.
Have some realistic goals, some flexible goals in that, so that when life hits you, you can still push through it. But when you sit here and operate in a fear of failure, that's a mindset. Like your mind is set on failing. So that's one thing. Like when I like even talking to my sons, like in the different sports they play in, it's like the more prepared you are, the less fear of failure you're gonna have. Because it's like, you know what? I put in the work, even though you may be scared, but you're not afraid of failure. It's just that anxiety, that nervousness, energy you get. It's like, look, if I get up to bat and I strike out, like, look, who cares? You got another opportunity. See, that's what's so great about sports. It's like, man, like you may didn't get it right this time, but you'll have another opportunity here.
Exactly. And a lot of people are just still oftentimes paralyzed, especially kids. They get caught in that trap of that. Their failure is just linked to keeping them in this situation permanently. That's the biggest misconception you'll find with a lot of kids. And then even with adults, like I said, they feel like their failure is their identity.
So they identify themselves as a failure.
They're going to identify, and then they'll have other people, because you got to think about it. Like I said, you have adults still come back and just reinforce that, oh, you're a failure. This is who you are. This is going to be your identity. Instead of having those right people, those right support systems coming in and saying like, no, this is not who you are. This is not your permanent destiny. And this is what you can do to change that. Like I said, hey, you may have failed here, but these are what the positive attributes you do have and what you do bring to the table.
That's something that Dwayne says a lot. He says, just because you fail doesn't mean you're a failure.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, because we're all gonna fail at something. Like, there's a quote that says you fail your way to success. So you're gonna fail in life at certain things, but that doesn't mean you're a failure, and that doesn't mean there's nothing that you could have learned from that situation when you failed in. So life can teach you a lot of things through failure. So I think that's very important to keep that right mindset. Keep your mind set on your goal, not on the failure, not on the fact that you may not succeed. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's one thing that I try to, like all the kids that I coach, I try to make sure, hey, look, just max effort. Let's prepare. Let's make sure that we did everything we could in our own power. And now come game day, if we win it, the whole thing, great. But if we don't, we know that we showed up ready. That's my thing. So what role does self-esteem play in dealing with fear of failure?
You got to think about it from two standpoints. You got healthy self-esteem, and then you got low self-esteem. Like I said, if you got healthy sorry, that's a tongue twister for me. You got healthy self-esteem, then of course, like I said, you're going to be able to have that resilience. You're going to have that drive. You're going to have that push to be able to say like, okay, this is temporary. I can handle this. I've been through this before. I've had a similar situation. I'm going to have wise counsel around me that's surrounding me that I can go through and ask them like, okay, this is the situation that's occurred. Can you explain to me where my pitfalls were in this situation? Okay, this is where I failed at. Okay, you helped me. Okay, this is what I learned. This is a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
This is where, like I said, you know who you are as a person. And that's the issue with a lot of people. They don't know who they are as a person.
Gotcha.
Especially when it comes down to when you're failing something. A lot of people just don't know who they are. And then when it comes down to low self-esteem, again, you just don't know who you are. And as soon as you know who you are, then you're going to be able to have those boundaries, like I said. But when you're low self-esteem, like I said, you have that anxiety. You're just going to have that repeating thought process, thinking that, okay, this is just where I'm at. This is just all that is going to be all that I am. This is all that's best for me. You're going to be constantly negative. You're not going to try out those situations again. You're not going to go out for the basketball team because you failed again. You're going to not make that second attempt.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to make that second attempt for their relationship. You're not going to make that second attempt for those friends. You're not going to make that second attempt for that job, that career, because, hey, I failed. I didn't go for the thing. I went for the thing I really wanted and I didn't get it.
Mm.
And again, you may have put your best foot forward. You may put especially with those people who say, okay, I gave it my all. I really did. I gave it my all. And then it just brings them down low and they're not willing to say, okay, I'm willing to try again, even though I gave it my all.
Yeah. I know that self-esteem builds confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And the more confidence you have, the more you're willing to, to get out there and go for your goals, your dreams, your visions. So the question would be, how do we build these kids or young adults up to have self-esteem? What is one or two things you recommend or you think they should do so they can build up that self-esteem?
You give them situations and scenarios where they're gonna fail. Like I said, they're like, put them in an escape room where they're definitely probably gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
And tell them, like I said, failure is a part of life. Like, get them in sports, get them in activities. Like I said, think about it. You got Michael Jordan, you got Kobe Bryant. Was every season a winning season? Was every season a championship season? No, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Like I said, some years you're going to have competition that's better than you. And guess what? At that point in time, guess what? You're going to have to develop a growth mindset where you're going to have to be willing to grow and change and adapt and pivot and change who you are. Because guess what? Every year you're getting older. Every year, like I said, you cannot sit here and stay stagnant and be the same person you are. Because if you're going to sit here and stay stagnant and be the same person you are, then guess what? You're not living your life. Because if you're going to sit here and be the same person you are, like I said, all the degrees that you got, all the accolades that you've gotten, then guess what? It's a waste because you stay, like I said, that's all in the past right now. Right now, we're in the present and we're going forward into the future. And guess what? Life is changing every day.
True that. That's good stuff, man. I like that. Man, we got Rod Fuqua on the elevated chat room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. Now, Rod, man, how do you encourage resilience in those people that you encounter that deal with fear of failure? How do you encourage that resilience?
I mean, the best way to encourage resilience is, of course, to remind them, like I said, you've been through similar situations and let them know that, hey, I've been there. I've gotten out of it. I've been through it. Or even if, like I said, similar situations, that you're going to be there as a support to them. Like I said, no matter what you're going to be through, give unconditional positive regard is what they call it in the psychological community. Like I said, unconditional positive regard basically means that, like I said, no matter the situation, I'm not going to give you any judgment. I'm going to be there. I'm going to support you. Like I said, I'm not going to give up on you, but you can't give up on yourself either. You got to do the work for yourself too. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I can push you only as far as you're willing to push yourself.
Okay. I like to tell individuals, like, look, man, what you're going through, it's not special. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is you're not the only person in the world that's ever experienced this. Right. You're not the only person in the world that's currently going through this. So find some people out there that's conquered that thing that you're going through right now on this journey to success or on this journey to accomplishing your goal. Mm-hmm. Find somebody. There's I'm pretty sure there's a group out there for the weirdest thing that somebody has went through that's helping people overcome. Mm-hmm. You need the testimonies of other people. You need the success stories of other people. Mm-hmm. You need to see, like, I'll tell people all the time, I don't want to just see your glory. I don't want to see you just on the mountaintop. I want to know your story. Mm-hmm. I want to know the ins and the outs. I want to know the ups and the downs. Because where you at right now, it makes it look like you ain't never went through nothing.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? You on the top of the mountain, like, bro, like it looks real nice where you at. Mm-hmm. But I need somebody to tell me, like, man, how did you bounce back from the first time you got that no? Mm-hmm. How did you bounce back when so and so passed in your life? How did you bounce back when one of your best friends left out your life? How did you bounce back when you didn't have enough money to pay for it? Like, I want to know those things, because by the time I get to the top, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know how to get there and everything that it entails. So you got to be resilient in order to accomplish those things. There was a sermon today that God was ministering. He was talking about the meanwhile. He was like, on your way to accomplishing your goals, there's this thing called the meanwhile. Mm-hmm. So while you're going through it, from the start to the finish, basically all that time is called the meanwhile. He said, who are you going to be in the meanwhile? Are you going to still be a person that is of faithfulness and of serving? Or are you going to be a type of person that backs down and let the fear of failure take advantage of you? So who are you in the meanwhile? And I was like, yeah, I likes that. You know what I'm saying? You got something you want to say about that? You was itching over there.
Yeah, I'm itching. It just goes back again. Like I said, people really just got to know who they are. They can't be defined by their job. They can't be defined by their activities. They can't be defined by their hobbies. Like I said, I may have come in saying that I'm Rod Fuqua, probation officer. Like, I'm Rod Fuqua. I'm a brother. I'm Rod Fuqua. I'm a lover of people. I'm Rod Fuqua. Like I said, I'm a servant of God. Those are my attributes. Like I said, my job can be stripped of me today. Like I said, I can lose everything today, but still, I'm still going to go out. I'm going to serve people. I'm going to love people. I'm going to do whatever I can to the best of my ability. And that's what people don't realize. Like I said, if you lose all your titles and everything, who you're going to be. And that's why I realized, like, listening to this Bible study on Friday night, and that's what they were discussing, basically saying, like I said, who are you in Christ? Like I said, if you get so caught up in trying to get to where you are and get to that highest peak and lose who you are in the meanwhile, your values and your intrinsic nature, then what's the point?
That's good stuff, bro. So yeah, who are you? And it cannot be the material things, as Rod is saying. It can't be anything from the outside. It has to be things from the inside out.
Yes.
That's truly who you are. We say all the time, you know, when life gets hard, when things get tough people show up. And you cannot show up if toughness is not inside of you.
Right.
So I cannot give things to people. I cannot serve people. I cannot love people. I cannot be kind to people if those things are not in me.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to know that, like, hey, like, it's not a surprise, you know what I'm saying, when I've been knowing a certain person for so long and they act the same way. It's like, bro, that's who you are. No matter if life is good, bad, or indifferent, you are this person because you have already always shown me to be this type of person. So we have to make sure that we're built up on the right things, know who we are, and be ready to show people who we are. We should get to the point where it's like, yeah, man, I'm always looking to serve. I like to serve. I'm serving. I'm looking for an opportunity to serve somebody. I'm looking for an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to show somebody grace. I'm looking for an opportunity to show somebody mercy. I'm looking for an opportunity to bail somebody out. Because if I told you I'm that type of person, then we should be looking for those moments. Like you said, you like to serve, you like to give back. You look for those moments to serve. Even and true serving means that we have to sacrifice. You know, it may not be something we actually want to do, but we tell ourselves we want to do it, even though it may not be favorable for us. But we know by blessing other people and helping other people, in the long run, God will smile down on us.
Exactly.
So, man, that's a good mindset to have, man. This thing, fear of failure, is real. It is real. And I think a lot of people, going back earlier, we like to hesitate. We like to. So is it really a fear or is it really just hesitation?
And it goes back to, like I said, I mentioned before, you got procrastination, and then you also got avoidance. When you start just avoiding, just slowly just putting it off, like I said, yeah, it can actually just be a hesitation because, like I said, you don't understand your capacity for, like I said, your own greatness. Everybody else, like I said, can see it and see your capability and see your capacity for greatness. But sometimes in yourself, like I said, you have that voice inside you telling you, like I said, there's no way I could do this. There's no way I can accomplish this because of your own past failures or because something that's happening in your past. So yeah, definitely it can be a hesitation. And that's why you got to surround yourself with people who can either pull you that out of you. Like I said, hey, when you're younger, and like I said, you got some, and you're in high school, sometimes you may have had that coach, you may have had that teacher, you may have had that parent that, hey, that can coach you and push you. But as an adult, like I said, you may not always have that. And sometimes you may have that shame or that, like humiliation, that may want to go out and talk to other people and share, like, hey, I've got these issues that I'm dealing with. But we cannot be ashamed to be able to have these conversations and say, like, I'm dealing with this situation, I'm dealing with this fear, in order to be the best people we can be, because that's what we should be striving to be, because we're going to be examples to kids, we're going to be examples to nieces, nephews, even our own parents. Like I said, we don't understand the shift that we can make by making these changes.
Good.
Yeah, see, living in denial is a slow path to destruction.
Exactly.
So until we actually come out of that denial and let somebody in, that's when we can start seeing breakthroughs happen. That's when we can see progress. That's when we can start living a different type of life in the meanwhile.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, man, you have shared some good stuff tonight, man.
Yes, sir.
You're over there dropping some jewels,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
But I mean, that's the thing, though. Like I said, we as black men, like I said, there's such a misconception and such a stigma, like I said, on mental health, on seeking help, on just talking to each other about like our issues. Like we're told to just hold it in, and like I said, we're not supposed to share that we're going through anything. But hey, counseling is needed. Like I said, hey, prayer is great. Like I said, I love God. I pray to God. But hey, I've gone through counseling myself. Counseling is great. I'm going to tell you, like I said, hey, go through counseling and see if it'll benefit you. Like I said, I'm not currently going through it right now, but hey, counseling can benefit anyone like that's dealing with any type of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm all for counseling. All for it. Like, and we do have to get out of that stigma that, it's a sign of weakness. Like, bro, if you are messed up, if you're going through some things internally, you need to go talk to somebody that is a professional.
Exactly.
Not just your homeboy down the street. You could talk to your homeboy, you could talk to your parents, but sometimes some things require professional help from someone that is not going to judge you about it. So go get that help. Highly recommend it. Even in your marriage. There's nothing wrong with going and get counseling for marriage. Like if you married and stuff how you want it to be, hey, go get counseling. If you want that thing to work, if you want that thing to progress, if you want that thing to go to the next level in anything you're doing, it's okay to go get counseling. Now, let's go on to the next question. All right, here we go. So, how can peers influence a juvenile's fear of failing?
This is twofold because, I mean, like I said, if you got some great friends around you, like I said, they can definitely, like I said, pull you out of that hole. Like, say you have a bad game, they're going to be the ones pat you on the back and say, hey, that's okay. Like I said, you may have failed like this, but hey, like I said, there's another game. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's ways for us to get out of the situation. They're not going to be the ones getting on social media and everything blasting. They're going to tell you like, hey, put down that post, get off that phone, just delete them, just block them. Because, I mean, with our juveniles, social media is a mess. I'm just going to go ahead and say that real quick. Yeah. Like I said, when we were growing up, we didn't have social media. We didn't have access to our friends 24/7 like things are today. But in today's generation, you have access to your friends, to your peers in a way that is unimaginable, where they're right there with you and have access to you 24/7. Yes, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. But in the positive aspect, like I said, again, like I said, they're able to encourage you. They're able to support you. They're able to be a source of inspiration, and they can help you become better because, like I said, if you see your friends doing well and seeing how they respond to failure, seeing like, oh, that's nothing. Like I said, okay, I lost this game. I failed this test, but I'm going to do better next time. We can develop a study group. Like I said, we all failed this test, so let's get together and develop a study group to, hey, improve our grades and everything. Then you have a good support. But if you got a negative support group and negative peers, then they're going to be the ones who may possibly be encouraging you, hey, don't go to school. Hey, let's go out here and have a drink. Hey, let's go out here and just continue to go and do the things out here that are continually self-sabotaging and making me do all the things like disrespecting my parents and things like that. If you have those things that are influenced, like your fears of failure, they're going to be the ones who are saying like, okay, like I said, you just bully and tease. And like I said, you got peers that will just go and bully and say, just bring up all those bad situations that occurred over and over again and just create this negative mind state in the child that will just keep them in a state of depression.
So the peers play a major role.
Yes. Yes, I believe in social media, especially, there's a sense of bullying. Like I said, there's this constant barrage of bullying, like I said, that just does not stop. Like I said, say if you failed, then they're going to be like, ooh, look at what you did. Ooh, what you did. There's going to be this pig.
They make you relive it over and over again.
You're going to relive it over and over again. Like I said, there's no way to turn it off. Like I said, our kids don't want to get a break away from these phones.
Yes. So let me ask you this. At what age do you recommend kids to have phones and have access to social media in your own experience?
And that is a tough question with not being a parent and not being those things. Because I mean, it's just hard because I mean, I've got a younger cousin who is, I want to say 4 years old, and he can get my phone and he can work it just as well as anyone else. He can grab my phone and he can go straight to a football game and be playing it just as well as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it is difficult for social media. I want to say that Teenager.
Teenager.
I feel like a teenager is the only one who has the capability to be able to manage social media, but everything has to have a safeguard on it. Like I said, you have to have like tracking on your child's phone. You have to have, like, there are ways for you to have constant access to your child's phone to be able to monitor, like I said, text messages, social media, and all those things. And it's up to you as a parent to be responsible for monitoring your child's activity. And if you as a parent saying like, no, that's not my responsibility, I don't have time for that, then why are you a parent? I hate to say that, but that's the truth though. Like I said, you as a parent, if you are a parent, it's your responsibility to track your child's behavior and make sure they're doing the things they need to be doing.
I agree. Because my oldest boy, he just 9, and he stayed. Well, he don't ask no more, but he went through this little phase because his cousin got a phone and all this, and he wanted him a phone. I was like, dude, you can do the same thing on your iPad that you can do on the phone. I was like, you don't need a phone until you're out of my presence. Like, when you go to practice, I'm coaching you. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're at practice, I trust the people there and I have all their phone numbers. Exactly. I trust your coaches. Your coaches have been coaching you not just in baseball, but in football too. So like they got my number. So anything that you need, you tell the coach and the coach will get in contact with me. You know, so until like you get to a point to where you're off in like middle school and high school where I'm no longer there or I don't really know the coaches on that level, it's not a family like it is right now, then that's when you'll get a phone, you know, and your access on that phone is not going to be what you think it is. So you might as well, you know, just be happy with the iPad for right now.
Exactly.
So, but that's just me because I know what's out there.
Exactly.
You know, we deal with the youth and I know what I experienced and I didn't even have access on a phone. You know what I'm saying? It was just I had to get access in other ways. But yeah, I agree with you on that. You know, Facebook didn't come around till I was in college.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I was one of the first ones to get on Facebook, our generation. I graduated high school in 2003. And so when I was at Jacksonville State, I don't know if it was my first or second year, but that's when Facebook came out. And you had to have a college email address to sign up for it. So it was for only college students. Wow. So you can only imagine what we was using it for. Football players, athletic, you know what I'm saying? All we trying to do is find the finest girls on campus now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty much what we was doing. Right. You got to remember, there was no parents. It was all college students. And maybe I think that you could, if you had like, if you was a administrator or a teacher that was teacher or professor, you can get on there too. But that's pretty much what it was, man. And like at that time, we're 19, 20-ish years old. Like you talking about kids on Facebook now at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Like why? Exactly. Why are you on there? Like what are you watching? What's entertaining you? Put the phone down. Let's focus on your books. Let's focus on your little goals and dreams that you got that don't require the phone. But that's just a generation that we're dealing with because my boys talking about they want a YouTube channel to do this and do that. I was like, man, who has time to shoot videos, edit videos, and post them?
Right.
Would it be cool? Yeah. But we don't have time. Now, do y'all do a lot of stuff to have videos? Yeah. But we don't have the time. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I know that social media, even for adults, we see adults that abuse social media.
Yes.
They get on there and they lash out, they expose themselves, they out there just acting a fool, you know what I'm saying? Just really, and then they're embarrassing themselves, embarrassing their family, embarrassing their kids, and then they wonder why people look at them a certain way. You know, we got people that be on there like needing help with their kids. Like my child is this, my child is doing this, child is doing that. Okay, based off the way your social media is set up, I see why they do what they do because the lifestyle you showing them. So like this don't work like that. You can't live a certain lifestyle in front of them, doing God knows what, and then want them not to emulate that. It don't work like that.
Right. And going back to that, like I said, I mean, that's a perfect segue into that. Like I said, I mean, fear of failure can be learned. Like I said, if you see how parents, peers, or anyone that's around you, like I said, that fear of failure is emulated because it's taught to you.
That's good. I like that. So anything can be taught.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything can be taught. Fear of failure can be learned. So if you watch your parents or your caregivers underachieve, you know, you watch them fail and then not handle failure right. Because you can watch a parent, because you want to show your kids all the ins and outs. So you can, like my sons can watch me fail at something, but now they're really watching me. How do I react to failing at that thing?
Exactly.
Because I tell them, I was like, man, y'all are not going to win every game. But there has been seasons where we have went undefeated. Like Aiden's first football season, they went undefeated, won it all, right? I was like, buddy, this is not going to happen every year. Because they get in that mindset like, man, we're going to win every game. I was like, no. This is special. This is a special group of coaches, a special group of parents, and a special group of kids. This may not ever happen again. But when they're going through it, they think it is. And then they come back the next season, they lose their first game, they all tore up.
Right.
Well, dude, I told you.
And I think that's why you got to start creating those atmospheres. And as parents, you got to start teaching your kids early about failure. Because, I mean, in certain instances, you got, like I said, with Aiden, like, it's a perfect example. Like I say, you get kids who never fail at all. And then they start getting to college and high school and start getting maybe that first F and everything. And it shuts them down. It's demoralizing. It completely crushes them personally, and it makes them drop out, or makes them, like I said, in worst case scenario, suicidal and things of that nature.
Jeez.
And you got like look at it and see like, hey, like I said, this is a person who's never failed. This is a person who's never been exposed to this type of situation. And so that's why it's leading to those type of reactions, because they've never experienced it before. Like I said, some people have always carried themselves to such a high degree, a high standard and high level of expectation that when they met that at that final point, because like I said, think about it, a kid that's going from birth to age 20 and they finally hit failure. That's a long time.
That's tough.
That's tough. That's tough to never meet failure. And then finally hit you in the face like that. That is devastating. So that's why, like I said, even through all our books, through all of our experience, like I said, we got to start explaining to kids, explaining to people, explaining to everyone, like, hey, failure is going to occur. So how do we manage failure when we face it in any type of situation?
That's good. And that's funny that you say that, because Aiden's 9U baseball team this year, man, they had an amazing year. I think they may have only lost like maybe five or six games to kids in their own age group, and they played like 50 games this year.
Wow.
I mean, they are like an elite team, and they're only like probably one or two either kids away, or one or two kids from our own team taking their skills to another level from being like elite. Like, that's just how much work they put in. But we played one tournament against 10U teams. So they got their butts whooped. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't like, I'm like, look, dude, that's good for you. Like, and I literally like, that's good for you. I said, they were older. I was like, y'all didn't show up. I mean, y'all just kind of cowered down because you knew they were 10-year-olds. But y'all could compete with them. They ended up being one team, but they could have competed a whole lot better against some of the other teams. But I was like, well, this is good. This is a good experience for you, because I want you to know, like, even though your team is good, even though you're good, you're not going to play great every game. You know, you're not going to get up to bat, because when you go from coaches pitching to you, they throwing the ball in the sweet spot. You pretty much barreling the ball, hitting it hard every time. I said, now when you face against these kids, now you learning to time the pitch up. Now you learning to see if these kids can throw a curveball or an off-speed pitch. Now you learning if the kid's throwing the ball on the outside of the plate or the inside of the plate, and you got to be ready to hit the ball when it's right down the middle in your sweet spot. Like, it's a whole lot more that goes into it now, and the mindset you got to have that you ain't gonna get hit by a pitch, because these kids be throwing wild. You know what I'm saying? So, and once a kid gets hit, bro, you see them bagging out the batter's box. Yes, they are. And don't let it be a fast pitcher you facing and he wild. Bro, they don't want to see that. But see, that's a part of failing your way to success.
Right.
So that tournament, we got our butts whooped. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it was a good experience for them. You've seen faster pitching. So when we get to these all-stars in the World Series and these big-time tournaments, you've already seen all this before. So it's nothing new to you. Now you just got to lock in and execute. You got to be who you are. And sometimes I feel like because they put so much pressure on themselves that sometimes they really will go into a game, man, and they will just beat themselves up before the game even starts.
And that's the big thing. Like I said, we are our own worst critics. Like I said, as humans, we are our own worst critics. Like, we think the world is often judging us. Like, no, everybody's in their own world, and also the most critical of themselves. So we are our own worst critics oftentimes, and that's why we need to oftentimes have an objective observer like come in and say like, okay, are my thoughts true? Are these my real true thoughts? Or like even take up journaling, like actually like take up journaling for a week and just compare your thoughts and say, okay, these are my thoughts for the week. I don't care for these thoughts. Let's change my thoughts and change my process and change my pattern.
That's good stuff, man. Even when my boys succeed and stuff, like I applaud them. Like, yeah, boom, boom, good job. You know, I'm like, I always love you. I'm not like, this ain't your sport. How you perform in sports, that's not going to determine how much I love you. I love you. Like, exactly. You can strike out every time. I'm still going to love you. Now, did I enjoy watching the game? No, because you sucked out there today. But I still love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest with them. Like, you sucked today. And I can tell my kids that because of the expectations that I have in them, that they have in themselves, and the training that we have done. You know, like, now.
And the relationship that you got.
Yes, and the relationship that I have with them. Most definitely. So, he can play a great game like this past World Series. They was giving out MVPs at the end of the games. They gave this boy MVP. And I'm like, buddy, you played good, but for MVP of the game, I'm like, come on now. What did you really do to get MVP? And that's just how I am as a parent, as a dad. Like, I'm not big on just giving you something for whatever reason. Like, you have to earn it. You have to earn it. Like, you don't just get MVP. Like, did he make a catch? Yes, but Aiden is an excellent outfielder. When I tell you he can make catches in his sleep, the catches that he made were normal for him. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, yo, good job. You did play good. Congratulations on winning the MVP. But, buddy, you know that you could have hit a whole lot better. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know you could have did this and that. But that's just because I never want him to get complacent in where he's at. Because as a kid, you know, sometimes they start smelling themselves. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you know, let the sport or the game, or sometimes you have to humble them, but at the same time, you still encourage them. And so I'm finding that balance of, okay, I don't want this going to your head because we still got more games to play. I want you to play even better. So let's continue to improve. Let's go to the batting cage.
Exactly. We have to continue to raise our level of expectations of ourselves, and we can't stay in stagnation. Because I mean, that's the big thing. We're going to stay in stagnation, then we're never going to grow. We're going to stay in that level of fear of failure.
That's good stuff. So, man, last question that we got listed here is, what's the most common misconception juveniles have about failure?
Again, that is a permanent situation. There's something that they're going to live in. That, like I said, once they fail, that, okay, this is the end of the world. Because, I mean, to a kid, like I said, time is just going by so fast. But the kids, like time just seems forever. Then it feels like they're going to stay a kid forever. So when they fail, it feels like whenever they get punishment or anything for a failure, it feels like, oh, this punishment is going to last forever. Tell them they're going to get their phone taken away for a week. Feels like a lifetime to kids. Sometimes I think about it. So it feels like a lifetime. So like I said, failure is not forever. Like a lot of times it comes back to them teaching them like, hey, this is temporary, that this isn't going to last forever, and that we can recover from this. But in this world and this lifestyle that they're being taught right now, it's all about instant gratification. They want instant forgiveness. They want instant this. They want instant that. And that's not how the world works. It takes kindergarten to 12th grade to get a high school diploma.
Come on.
It takes 4 years to get a college degree, or however many credit hours, and then however many credit hours to get a graduate degree. It's a process. We need to teach them about the processes it takes to achieve success. So if they don't understand what the process it takes to achieve any type of success and the time it's going to take to achieve any type of success, then guess what? It's going to be ingrained in them that, guess what? Everything's going to be handed to them, and that's going to be right there available to them as soon as they open up their hands.
That's good. That's an entitlement attitude, or
very much
entitlement spirit that we talk about. And I relate a lot of things to sports because that's just the world I live in. And that's one thing I tell my boys, especially my youngest boy, because he think, you know, he's good because he's been around every sport at a high level because of his older brother. So he picks up, you know, starts playing baseball. He's one of the best baseball players on the team. Just because he's been around it longer. You know, he's been exposed. He's been doing drill work with Big Brother and myself in the backyard at the batting cage or at the baseball field. So he feels like, you know, he can just cruise now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he think he's that good. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. I was like, you just don't wake up and be great at something. That stuff is planned. That stuff is worked out. I was like, we've got to continue to do the ground ball drills. We got to continue to catch pop flies. You got to continue to do all the batting drills that we do. You're good, But at times when y'all are playing against a good team, I see that dog that's in you. I see him. He cowered down to a little puppy, and I'll tell him. I'll tell him in front of anybody. I was like, look, my oldest boy. I was like, he wants to train. He wants to be that guy. But when he gets on the field or the court, he's not going to bring the attention to him. It's just going to come to him because of the work he's put in. Now, my youngest boy, he feel like he the greatest. He feel like his stuff don't stink. He's gonna come to do the drills, but he ain't gonna lock in. You know what I'm saying? Because he cool. You know what I'm saying? And then when he gets on the court or the field, he gonna dance. He gonna do stuff to get attention.
I already knew.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just letting his skill set bring the attention. So Dwayne, no,
That's it, man.
that's him.
That man got that touchdown dance. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
He does.
Gonna
He
come
does.
with it.
So it's like when we talking about building our kids, or when we talking about having them to overcome the fear of failing, we have to make sure our kids are prepared for game day.
Exactly. They have to be. Like I said, like Kobe said, like I said, you got to practice. Get, like I said, teammates at practice. Like I said, you got to get to practice before them, or you're gonna have to come in a whole lot earlier. You got to set the standard. You got to set the level of expectation for yourself and for others. Like I said, if you want to be the best, you're gonna have to have the best mindset. If you want to win, you're gonna have to have that winner's mentality. Like I said, going back to like sports. Like I said, hey, I like looking at competitive bodybuilding. Like I said, hey, if you want to be the best, and like I said, that is very subjective. So like I said, there's no guarantee that you're gonna win. But hey, if you're gonna come in, you're gonna know that you gave your best. At the end of the day, like I said, you're going to take hours of cardio. You're going to take hours of lifting weights. And like, hey, that's what it takes.
And like, I talked to the kids on the baseball team before one of their World Series games. And I was telling them, I was like, y'all said that, a lot of y'all said that your favorite subject is math. And I was like, y'all don't realize what you just said. The only way you get good at math is through reps. You have to work the same problem over and over and over and over again. I said, that's the same thing with baseball. I've seen y'all do ground ball after ground ball after ground ball for the past 3 years. I've seen y'all catch thousands of fly balls. I've seen y'all throw the baseball around thousands of times. I've seen y'all hit the baseball, level the baseball, drive the baseball, barrel the baseball over 1,000 times. So I was like, y'all are ready because y'all have put the work in. You just got to get it here in your head. Get it in your head that, hey, this is not normal. Like, you're at the World Series. This is something special. You guys playing on a school day at 1 o'clock while other kids are in school. They wish they could be here to do what you guys are doing. Enjoy this. Look around and soak this in because this may never happen again. And I'm like, hey, let's go out there. And even when times get tough, trust your training. Trust all the reps. Trust all the hard work you put in. We believe in you. Believe in yourself. And let's go have fun.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So, but man, it takes a lot though to overcome the fear of failure.
It does. It does take a whole lot because I mean, you got the emotions attached to it. You got the physical symptoms that come along with it, but it all is a process, like with anything. So I mean, find a good support system. Find those people, like you said, that have gone through the same thing that you've gone through. Because again, it is not unique to you what you're experiencing in any type of situation. Just because, hey, it feels like it is unique to you, it is not solely unique to you, whatever situation you've gone through. So find those support systems, find those people to talk to, and then be willing to take the criticism or the encouragement that comes along with it. Because a lot of people sometimes aren't willing to take the encouragement or criticism that sometimes comes along with it. So be open-minded and be willing to take that criticism, encouragement, and take that and go to the next level and move forward with it. But don't stay in that same place once you get it, though.
So you got to be coachable.
You got to be coachable.
Man, you would not believe how many times, whether I'm on the football field coaching, basketball court, or baseball field, and I'll tell a kid, hey, you got to stop doing this. And they will say, I didn't do that. I'm like, boy, I just watched you do it multiple times. And they literally would say, I didn't do it. I said, okay, if you want playing time, you better listen to what I'm saying. If you want to hit the ball better, you better listen to what I'm saying. If you don't want to get smacked in the face with the ball again on the fly ball, you better listen to what I'm saying. Or you won't be playing. It's up to you, though. So I just put it back in their hands. And then after they mess up again, they want to come back to me. I was like, just listen. I'm not out here to not to make you great. I'm out here to make you great. I'm out here to pour everything out of you that I see that's in you. Now, there's some things that your parents see that is not in you, but they're trying to pull it out of you. You're not a running back. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not an infielder right now. You know, no, you're not a pitcher right now. You know, because you're just not ready. But when you're ready, or when your parents have helped you get ready, instead of just sending you out here on the field to play, then that when that day comes, you will be ready. It will be your time to play that particular role or position. But man, Rod, you got anything else you want to say, man, before we close out?
No, sir.
You sure?
I'm sure. Like I said, thank y'all for having me. It's been a blessing. Like I said, if you're dealing with fear or anything, like I said, I'm always available. Like I said, even as a probation officer, I keep an open door policy. So feel free to come by and see me anytime if you need any help or any advice or any support. So again, I'm located right across from the courthouse in Tuscumbia. If you're not familiar with that, or reach out to these gentlemen here, they can give you my contact information.
All right. Y'all heard it, man. That was Mr. Rod Fuqua, man. Probation officer, good guy, all around genuine dude. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. Like, share, subscribe, watch videos, man. Tell your friends, your family. If you want to jump on the podcast, holler us, man. We appreciate you guys. We out. Be blessed.